Hi, welcome to our lesson on section 4.4, the if-else statement. The if-else statement actually creates two branches of execution in the program. In other words, one action is performed if a condition turns out to be true, but a different action is performed if the condition turns out to be false. Here's the general format of an if-else statement. It's actually similar to the if statement. It starts the exact same way with the if keyword, an argument that's always going to be a condition which can either be true or false in parentheses, and then a statement or group of statements in curly braces. But there is a corresponding else with that if, and in the else block, there's a statement or group of statements that executes if the condition in the if block turns out to be false. So let's think of this in terms of an example. And in this example, let's say that we want to calculate somebody's average income based on their total income and the number of pay periods. But what do we know about dividing? There's something about that denominator we want to make sure doesn't happen. Right, the denominator can't be 0, because division by 0 is undefined. Okay, so let's first decide what to call our variables. Let's call average income AVG, and total income just income, and the number of pay periods NPER. And the data types for these variables, well, let's make income a double and NPER an int, and then the result of that division will be a double. And so here's our formula. Average equals income divided by NPER. And now let's go ahead and fill in if-else statement. So our condition is that NPER is something. We'll leave it blank for now. But we want to print out an error message in the bad case, right? In the case where we're not able to divide. I'll just put NPER cannot be 0. And then let's go ahead and throw in a new line character and end that statement. So what should be the condition on this if-else statement? Well, we want to print out NPER cannot be 0 if someone tried to make NPER equal to 0. On the other hand, if NPER is not equal to 0, so if it's anything but 0, then let's go ahead and do the division. And so we have that variable, it's a double called average. And so let's assign it the value of income divided by NPER, which we know is not 0. And then let's go ahead and just print out the result to the user. Okay, so it's not very pretty, but it'll get the job done. We've got our if statement checking to see whether n per is equal to 0, in which case we won't try to divide anything, we'll just print out that error message. Otherwise, we'll calculate average and display it to the user. Now here's a follow-up question. How could you modify this program so that n per can't be 0 or negative? Well, one way to do that would be to change the condition from n per equals 0 to n per is less than or equal to 0. And then our error message can be n per cannot be 0 or negative. In the next section, we'll see what happens when one if statement is placed inside another, known as nested if statements.